coming. I am Thomas Murray, the Artistic Director of Waltzing Mechanics, and we are Chicago's stage for documentary theater. Our mission is that we create new documentary theater based on interviews with community members, telling the stories that are resonant in our community. And we're really honored to have all of you here tonight because this is a new work that we've been putting together with a number of our company members that is taking on a troubling issue in our community, which is that too many bicyclists seem to be dying in front of vehicles on Chicago city streets. This was brought to me about 6-7 months ago by some theater people that I know in town that said, you know, this is really something that you guys should pursue. And I'm sad to say that I also have a friend who lost somebody very dear to her within the last year or so. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm already personally invested and I do want to see this out. So my team and I started doing some research and quite tragically, very soon after we started doing our research is when Hectors wound up passing away last December. So we had seen that on the news and started looking more and more into that situation, and then tried to put feelers out delicately to the family to see if they would be willing to share their story. And we thought in telling their story that it may be able to change some minds and open up some hearts as to how we share the road. This particular reading tonight we've subtitled Hector's story because it is largely revolving around Hectors, his life as told by the people who loved him, and the tragedy of what happened to him as well. It will be part of a larger work that we think is about a year away from production now that will look at some other cases as well as what the conversation is around bicyclists and motorists on our city streets. For those of you who aren't familiar with verbatim theater, just a little primer, that which we're going to do tonight. Every word that these actors, these fine actors, speak tonight was spoken to us by somebody in real life. We didn't make anything up. We didn't fictionalize any of this. All of this were things that people told to us over the course of many hours of interviews. We've transcribed them and then adapted them into the script tonight. I also need to tell you this play reading is a first reading of this play. We have not had any rehearsal of this. The actors in fact, my collaborators and I just kind of were putting the finishing touches on the script at like 3 o'clock this afternoon. So this is fresh. They've had like a little bit of advance prep where they've been able to listen to the source interviews and the transcripts and look at the script like for a handful of hours. But this is also rather new to them too, and so we're kind of all excited to share in this experience with you tonight. There are some that are going to be playing many roles, and so in order to help you identify who's playing what, we wound up listing the roles that the folks play on pieces of paper in front of their stand. So hopefully from where you're sitting, you can still read it. There are some people who are playing multiple roles, so it's not necessarily, you know, they don't say the role that they're speaking as they begin speaking, but it's only one of those on the list. So hopefully that'll help narrow it down for you. I would love to introduce the cast. So if we could start with Eleni, and then you guys could just say your names so that they can meet you as well.
Eleni Papa George.
Michael Leon.
Elise Spurline. Shariba Rivers.
Lou Wallace.
Molly Rose Lewis.
Ashley Alvarez.
Wonderful. And I'd love to also thank and introduce my co-collaborators on this project, Molly Rose Lewis and Amy Hopkins, who will be our stage manager tonight. The three of us co-adapted the script from these interviews that we conducted together. So, last thing is, if you have a phone, put it on silent or airplane mode or something so that it doesn't go off during the course of this. And this is the right-of-way Hector's story.
was struck and killed by a car as he was riding his bike in Chicago. That driver stayed on the scene and was taken into custody. Tonight, police say alcohol was probably a factor. We get the latest from Eyewitness News reporter John Garcia.
Ingrid Cosio says she and her 28-year-old son, Hector were very close. He spent a lot of time with his mother and his two younger siblings since his active duty in the Marines ended a few years ago. He loved to cook, and after graduating from culinary school, he started working at El Jefe restaurant in River North. That's where he was last night before riding home on his bike. He never made it. He was hit by a car in the 2500 block of West Ogden just before midnight.
It's one of those things where you say goodbye to somebody and they go off doing the same thing they do every day, and some tragedy happens.
The driver stayed on the scene and was taken into custody. His family says Avalos loved to ride his bike. He loved the outdoors. They say he was tired after leaving work last night and told co-workers he was considering taking the train home instead. But ultimately, he decided to ride home. It was his favorite form of transportation.
He felt free riding it. He felt free and he loved it.
His Christmas stocking still hangs on the wall with those of his co-workers.
Hector's a great guy, us moving, being in a new town, and only being out here 6 months, he was one of the guys that was very welcoming to us. Busted his butt every day at work, put in his all, he was a great chef, great guy.
Chicago police say they are continuing to question the driver and they suspect alcohol may have been involved, but at this point they have not yet filed charges. In River North, John Garcia, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Lights rise, perhaps upon a ghost bike affixed to a pole center stage. It would be elevated a few feet above the street, higher than most such bikes are tethered. Candles and signs would surround it. This is a place that has been recently dedicated.
We just lost a really important person. Not only to us, I feel like the whole entire world is going to be shaped by this loss.
It's hard to kind of just openly start talking about it, where do you start and where do you go?
I met Hector and we instantly became friends. There was no buffer zone, no nothing. It was just instant. It was amazing, and it's still amazing.
I met him through an app.
I remember that smile and that laugh. His laugh, he had a big laugh. It was very powerful. Because as a kid, he used to be like a little pipsqueak. It's the same laugh, just got him more deep.
With his smile, it was just like, he was very welcoming. You see all the pictures of him, and his smile is like, God, I wish I had those teeth and that smile.
This one person has linked so many people together. He was really dedicated to his friends.
One of them said to me that anyone that Hector would bring into the group was okay. They trusted Hector that much that if he thought somebody was cool to come to interact with, then that's it. They never questioned it.
I met Hector 15 years ago when we were in high school. I was the scorekeeper for the baseball team in high school.
Growing up, me and him were on the baseball team. He fucking played soccer in high school too. He loved it. He loved being out and running around, doing his thing,
That was kind of always our battle, come on, let's go do this. I'm tired.
I cannot stress that enough. He had to be on the move constantly, He felt like he was wasting his life if he just sat on his ass watching TV. He hated that. The man hated being physically lazy.
I showed him how to ride the bicycle. I took him to Cow Park. That's a 3-mile range. And I took the training wheels out. He was in first grade. And I thought his father's not here to help him. So I started. I got him on. I hold him and I let him go. And I was walking and he would fall, pick him up. And 3 times then he got on. The last time I went ahead and all I could hear him screaming.
Hi, I'm not riding this bicycle. I can't ride it.
And he was crying. He had red shorts and a little white t-shirt. And I turned around and looked and I said, it's either you leave the bicycle there or you ride it. But we have a long way to go, I said. Right now, we just got started and I got to go around the park and there's no way, I said, that you're not going to ride this bicycle. And by the time we finished, he knew how to ride it. He was riding it.
Scene shift. The ensemble surrounds the ghost bike. Ingrid moves to a pin spot downstage.
I want to turn back time since his birthday is coming up, well, I'm thinking, when he was born, my pregnancy was healthy. He was fat, 8.5 pounds, 21 inches long, born on a Friday at 7:30 on a very, very cold day. Yeah, it was 0 below. It was 0 below.
There's never been a period where I didn't talk to Hector.
My name is Albert Gonzalez.
My name is Roberto Mancha. Most people know me by Rob.
I don't even remember. I met him as a kid, like in grade school.
Or Hector used to refer to me as Manch, or even just Mancha.
But I don't even remember what grade, possibly like 2nd grade or something like that.
Or Rob, usually Rob. I know him since 4th grade.
At one point, like Hector lived a couple houses down from me.
I can tell you for the first time I really talked to him. I remember like it was yesterday. We were at school and he said something to me maybe about my last name. It means stain in Spanish. So, I think he said something smart ass, and I was just, man, fuck this dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hang out with this asshole. But because we lived on the same block, I'd always walk home with him.
He was a quiet kid. He was never giving me any types of problems, rowdy, or I never felt like I had a kid because he wasn't the type of kid asking me for clothes, asking me for shoes. Oh, I want this, I want that. The only thing I remember him bugging me in his room that he wanted.
My own TV, my own VCR.
And I said no. What you get in your room is your radio and your alarm.
But my friends have it.
Well, go live with your friends. See, see what happens. Third day, they be throwing you out.
I'd always see him, and the next thing you know, I just started walking with him to school. Like from school, like we'd talk, and like even though he was a jerk, he was cool sometimes. And just then he grew on me, and that became my homie ever since.
I told him one day that if he was to get into gangs, I would leave everything and go back to Honduras. I said, we didn't come here to this country to be in gangs. I came here to look forward to life. I said, my parents gave that right. So I'm here for that. You are born and raised here, but that doesn't give you the right to go backwards. So I said, from here on, it's nothing but school. You decide when you get older what you want to do.
It's really nice that we grew up in such like a close-knit like neighborhood. All of my friends seem to have like people that are so close to them since we were like tiny.
If you talk to his friends, one thing that amazes me when you talk to him, he didn't have anything bad to say about any of his friends. I never heard him complain or say, be his friend and talk bad about the other. Never.
When Hector knew I was going to join the Marines, he knew what I was doing. I talked about it, and it was in high school when I think he was like, you know what? I don't really want to go to college.
Well, I found out that him and his friends were smoking weed. And I found it in my house. He was 17, and I was cleaning his room under his bed, and I found the box. And I called the cops. Oh yeah, I'm tough. I was really tough on him. I was the only mom and dad, and I said I don't want any trouble, but I want my son arrested. And I showed him the box.
It's day before Thanksgiving. We wouldn't arrest him because it's Thanksgiving right now. Wait until Monday.
So yeah, Monday came and they called me that he had been arrested, and I got nervous and worried, what it do to him as I did this to him. So he didn't come home, and I said, oh boy, I think I did wrong, maybe I pushed it, maybe he might go the other way and get into gangs now. So Tuesday I called him up and I said, well, where are you staying?
With so-and-so.
And I said, this kid sells drugs? He says,
who's telling you this?
So I said, don't worry about it, just let me know what's going on. Are you coming home?
I don't know. I'm gonna think about it.
Oh, I said, so you're staying with that kid? He says,
yeah. What do you care?
And I said, boy, I really pushed him into the wall, So I called him Thursday. I said, if you're not here by tonight at 10 o'clock, you're going to see who I am. You get in the house at 10 o'clock. If not, I said, I'm going to make sure you and that kid are arrested.
Why are you going that far? Who do you think you are?
I said, don't. You don't belong with him. You're 17 years old, and you are going to get your diploma. You're going to finish high school. I said, this is Thanksgiving. This is your last year, so you're not going to let it go over my dead body. I said, if you don't, the police will be waiting. they're gonna cat, and when you get out, guess what's gonna happen?
What?
I said, I'm gonna tie myself to you. I said, you're not gonna like it, and I'm gonna go to school handcuffed to you. You're gonna go to the bathroom, school, change and everything. But if that's the route I'll need to take, that's the way we'll do it. So, he was there by 10 o'clock. He was there. Christmas went by, and I remember one afternoon he sat down and he says,
I gotta tell you something, Mom.
I said, please don't tell me you got somebody pregnant, because that'd be the last thing. You're too young.
No, why do you gotta say that, Mom?
So I said, well, okay, come on, what is it? Just say it, please.
I'm going to the Marines.
Hector was a smart dude, though. Don't get me wrong. He could have probably went to just about any college. The guy's so goddamn smart.
And I didn't want to act like I wasn't shocked, which I was. And I said, this is my time to shut up, because he didn't have a male figure in his time. And I know that I couldn't guide him as a male. And I said, why are you doing this?
Well, Robert is doing it.
So he's seen that I was talking about the Marine Corps a lot, and he's like, you know, he wanted just to get away from the house. He just wanted something new, something fresh, and he was a physical guy. He liked challenges. I got out of the Marines in 07. He got out in 08. He was proud of being a Marine. Marine will always be in that guy, but he was just over that part, you know? Some people hold on to that shit, and they use that to make them who they are. Hector wasn't like that. Hector was Hector. Like, that helped him to be someone, but that didn't define him. We've been kicking it since then. Fucking, you know, my homie.
But then he was dating this girl.
Scene shift. Christina returns to center.
Hector and I dated for 3 years. We were in a relationship for 3 years. We had been dating. I mean, I met him once in like 2006 at a party. That's where he just came out of the military. He was living in California, and he was very obnoxious that night. He kept following me around, and he kept making comments to my cousin, like,
Oh, how come I've never met your cousin?
you know, this, and the other.
So, what are you doing tomorrow? We're gonna have a barbecue, like, do you want
No.
Like, if it's one thing, Hector was really outspoken. He didn't care if he offended you. He's going to say what he says is on his mind.
And yeah, so I decided to leave. I was like, Manuel, I'm just gonna go. I don't even know why you hang out with this guy. He's such a jerk. He's like,
I know, but he's like one of my best friends. I've known him since we were kids. Like, don't be upset. You know, he's just a little, you know, drunk.
that was it. And then we re-met in 2010. My cousin invited me to hang out, and we wound up at Hector's apartment. We still didn't understand the connection again, so some of the guys were telling Hector.
Hey, that's the girl that, you know, you were bothering that one party, that one time.
And he was like...
Really? That's her? That's Emanuel's cousin?
And so the next day he wound up sending me a message on Facebook, like...
Oh, hey, how's it going? The guys were telling me that we've met before, but I don't remember. Do you remember?
And I was like, no, I don't remember what you're talking about. And then the more he talked about it, it came back in my memory, and I was like, oh my God, that was you. And I'm like, wow, and I just X'd out of the conversation. And he was like...
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
Like,
I'm so dumb, like, I should have just not even said anything.
And I'm like, well, you did, so... He like asked me out on a date, and I was like, no, I don't date men who've been in the military. And he was like,
Okay, well, if you don't want to go out somewhere with me, like, I'll invite you over to my house for dinner.
and I was like, okay, fine. He's like,
You won't go with me somewhere in public, but you'll come over to my house? That makes no sense.
well, I really liked your dogs. He had 2 big white dogs, so I don't know. It was something about his dog that sort of made, I don't know, gave me this soft spot about him.
Hector loved Christina, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to, I'll put that on record because, like, the dude, like, 1 minute he'd be talking shit about cable. I don't want cable, I don't want cable, I don't want cable. I came into the apartment one day, there's a cable box here. What's going on here? So Christina come by, he got it for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, he loved the girl. He loved having her over.
Scene shift.
Living, to me, it was too far where he was, but he wanted to be there because he went to Jones. His friends were there, they had apartments around there. Plus, I think since he was a Marine, when he was played with me and I pushed him to go to college. I had an attic and we remodeled it for him, but there was no kitchen. So he was in and out with his friends, but he would come into the kitchen 2, 3 o'clock in the morning for partying with his friends, and that couldn't happen. So he says,
Ma, I gotta move. I need my own kitchen.
and I said, what are you talking about?
Well, you know, I like to cook. I like to be there with my friends.
Dude, this was the go-to guy for fucking ribs. This dude knew how to cook. His mom, he grew up with his mom, and like his mom pretty much, you know, taught him a lot.
And that's how it started, you know? I remember what he made for dinner that first night. He made like steak, broccoli, and cheese, and like mashed potatoes, and it was like the best steak I'd ever had. I was really impressed.
I was the first one of us to move to Pilsen. And everybody would come to my house like every day in the summertime, and we'd cook out on my porch. And then our friends Albert and Sergio moved into Pilsen.
And then, I don't know, we just seen Hector and Robert moving across the street, and we're like, what the hell?
And little by little, people just started trickling in. And like suddenly we're moved from here to here, you know? It's pretty cool.
Every Tuesday he would get together with his friends and they called it the Lucky Pot. Everybody would bring food.
A year ago exactly, he moved to the last apartment. He was Cermak in California. It's on top of this Chinese restaurant, and he didn't have access to the backyard, so there was no backyard. It was just like concrete. But even then, they were like, no, you guys can't park here, there, you can't, you know, hang back there. So on Tuesdays, the restaurant was closed, and Hector was typically off on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So every Tuesday, because it was closed and people could come and park in the back, and we could just kind of grill back there without them being there. That's why it became this like Tuesday potluck thing.
And the fact that it was his day off, I thought that was very special because it was his day off. He could have gone to his mom's house, he could have done anything, and he chose to always, like in the evening, he would start preparing stuff and then just send us a text saying, come over, I'm grilling. That's what made it so special for me.
It was always bring whatever you could and cook it up. He'd always have the burgers or something ready to eat there.
One day we both came across this ad on Craigslist. They had this like program at Center and Hofstad. Have you ever that organization? They have like a culinary program for people who don't have many job skills or looking to gain new sub skills. There's a celebrity chef that runs the program, and so you know they pick you, and at the end they try to like help you find a job. I was, you know, you should go try it out. You should go to the interview. There were a lot of people. He came back and he was like really excited, and sure enough, they picked him.
So about a year up to his death, he was like, you know what, man? I think I'm just gonna try to be a cook.
So after that, he enrolled in a culinary school at Washburn College.
He got into it. He got even better at cooking, so he was just improving, and he liked it.
And then that's where he started working at El Jefe.
He liked it because he's like, it's like being in the Marines. It's hard, it's challenging. You're in the hot-ass kitchen.
I think people lose that inner child once they get older with responsibilities, with, you know, having to do certain things that you think an adult has to do. I mean, I don't have a fancy job, you know, I'm just doing what makes me happy, and he was doing what made him happy. That's what I took away from him, ultimately, is just do what makes you happy. You can't wait around and be happy.
Ingrid really liked riding a bike, so she would like put him as a child like in the back. She had a little seat, and she would just ride her bike with Hector. When I met him, he didn't have a bike, so maybe in like 2010 at some time he bought a bike from Working Bikes. He went and picked out a bike and he started riding. Rob, he also bought a bike around the same time.
Me and him had cars. I crashed my car because I had PTSD problems. I don't have them that much anymore. I'm not drinking and driving, obviously. So once I crashed my car, then Hector was the only one of our group that had a car. Hector got his car fucking repoed or whatever. So then me and this dude were just like, how are we going to get around now? We grabbed some bikes, basically. Fucking then we're back on the road again, just not in a car.
So then Hector was like, we should get you a bike. And I'm like, no. So we went to Working Bikes. I remember it was one of my birthdays, and he bought me a bike. And then, you know, we both had bikes. He would make me ride. We'd be coming down 18th Street all the time, or if we wanted to go to dinner somewhere that was close, like a bike ride away, he'd be like,
okay, we can go, but we have to ride our bikes there.
no, but I don't want to.
I remember specifically this one time I had just started riding our bikes. It was like, I was kind of afraid a little bit, like timid on the street on a bike, you know. You feel naked on a bike, you know. So we were riding a bike in the sun. A guy on a motorcycle came up behind, on the side of me, like really loud. And I said to Hector, playing out, "Hey man, let's race him, man." He's laughing, and I was like, should I just tell him, "Hey, get a real bike"? And I was like, nah, I'm just playing. You got a real bike. I'm the one on a little bicycle, but he was like,
nah, dude.
He's like,
if you think about it, he's on a machine, and we are the machine. Who's the real man now?
All right, I got you. And ever since then, it resonated in my head.
I would only ride my bike with Hector. Until this day, like, I've never ridden my bike without him. I don't know how to ride it by myself. I get very scared and intimidated. Just about everybody in the circle that rides bikes has had some kind of accident. They've like fallen or gotten some really bad bruising or scratches.
Hector was all about bikes. He noticed in America, motherfuckers, the kids are getting fat, man. It's a fat nation. He's like, solve a problem right there. 2 birds, 1 stone. Worried about pollution? We got fat people, ride a bike. Bam, right there. Problem solved. Hector, you know what I'm saying? Smart guy. Put 1 and 1 together.
We only had 1 lock because we would only ride together, so we would just lock both of the bikes so we could like save a lock. He'd be like,
okay, fine, we could go to the movies, but we have to ride our bike.
okay, fine. Whenever I would tell my family like I had a bike and that we'd ride our bikes, they'd be like,
What?
Like, you ride your bike on the street? No.
You should not ride your bike on the street.
and I was like, okay, I don't.
2 weeks prior to him dying, I've been having headaches. I usually have migraines, and I tried taking migraine pills. It wouldn't take it away. For 2 weeks, I wasn't feeling good, and the last week, twice, I woke up early in the morning at 2:22 a.m. Thursday, prior to him dying, I looked at the clock. I had to go pick up the kids, and I turned to my mom. We look at the time, and I says, "Mom, it's 2:22 again. What's going on?" And to think that that's my son's birthday.
It was a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I'd seen him that week before he died. I talked to that dude the most out of any person probably in my life on a daily basis. And the depth of the conversation was like, it was never just superficial. We always talked about things, you know. So when I seen him that day, he looked really tired because, probably woke up early that day. He actually works out when he wakes up. So I took a shower, whatever. I get out of the shower and I'm leaving like, I shit you not, I'm telling you the truth here. I'm about to roll out and I'm like, "Hey Hector, hey dude, I'm about to leave right now, man, I'll see you later." He didn't respond. Man is knocked out. And I kind of peeked in the room real quick and he was out. So I was like, poor little bugger, he's asleep. I'm walking down the stairs and I stop on the first landing. I'm like, man. And thoughts like this go through my mind sometimes. And I was like, man, dude, you never know when it's your last time. But I was like, it's Hector. We were meant to fucking rule the world, so I don't see his story ending anytime soon. But I stopped, and I'm hesitant to go back around and wake him up and tell him I'll see you later, but I didn't. I continued on my way.
The week before, I remember I told my daughter, "We're going to show you the Christmas tree." I had never taken them. So I had taken a shower around 9 o'clock, 9:30, and my daughter says,
"Mommy, you've been promising me. You've been promised."
I have twins. They're 7 years old, and I had my hair wet and everything. And I told my husband, I said, "Oh, well, don't promise kids anything because they'll be pushing you and pushing you." And I said, "You know what? Give me my hat." I said, "Let's go. We're just going to run in, and I'll take your guys a picture." It was cold. And as we were there taking pictures, we went into Michigan Avenue just to look at all the lights. And I remember I said, "Let's pick up Hector." It was exactly 11 o'clock, and I called him up, and he says,
"What are you doing?"
I said, "Are you ready to be picked up?" He says,
"Yeah, why not?"
And I said, "Okay, come on, let's go." So, sure enough, I picked him up, and I went to take a picture with him, but my husband had already passed the tree. "I'm hungry, what you got?" He says,
"Well, Grandma gave me some food, some turkey."
I said, "Come on, let's go eat upstairs." I was hungry. He said, "This is going on 12 o'clock almost." I said, "Boy, it's late to be eating." I wanted to spend a little time with him, that we just didn't want to throw in and leave, you know? And I asked him before I left, I said, what do you want to do right now? He says, and I told him, it's too lonely. Why don't you get out? I saw his sadness. I was like, he was going to be by himself. So he says,
No, the guys are over at this bar. I might go over there.
and I said, well, get ready. Let me drop you off. It was on Canal and Cermak. So I get there, and I said, where's your friend?
I don't see his car.
And I said, okay, go check. I said, I'm not going to leave you here. You're not going to stay if he's not here, because how are you going to get back home? He says,
I'm walking.
I said, you're not walking. It was 0 below. I said, it's a few miles from here, and the street is really dark. I said, no, you're not. And I said, if anybody passes through here, they can shoot you, and you can fall, and nobody knows about you until the next day, frozen. So he says,
Okay.
so he went and checked, and he wasn't there. I said, get in the car. We went home. So I said, where is your friend? Where's Rosario? He's like,
Why? She's probably drinking.
I said, where's she at? She doesn't have a car. Call her up. So she answers.
She said she's on 18th Street walking east.
I said, where she's going?
To the bar.
I said, no. No. I said, get her. How's she going to get back home?
I don't know.
Tell her we're on the way to pick her. So we made a U-turn again. Went up to 18th Street. We found her walking cold. I couldn't believe it. She's this short. I said, you know what? You're amazing. I said, I know you're young, stupid, and naive, but yet anything could happen to you. You're drunk. I said, get in the car. Let's go home. So yeah, finally I dropped him off in front, and he usually, ever since he moved to where he moved, he started something different where he would give me a hug and a kiss, something that in my family we don't do. So it was really nice to know that at least I got to say that. And that was one thing that he would do now, ever since he was over there. And he shocked me because I didn't teach him that. Maybe he learned it from his friends, I don't know who, but I was grateful that he was doing that. And for the past 3 years that he was over there, I would feel a little embarrassed to do it. But I said to myself, why should I? I'm his mom. I shouldn't feel this. I gotta hide it and act like nothing's happening. And that was the last that I seen her.
Scene shift. Perhaps we hear car traffic, maybe distant sirens.
Friday night, I was cooking for my friends. I had hung out with Jamie, and then my other friend Sergio all came. And I was thinking, I was like, hey, we should go pick up Hector. Like, how the hell cool would that be, you know? He's getting off work, all tired and shit. And like, hey, my friends came and picked me up, you know? But I didn't want to be telling Jamie how, like, you know, to drive his car and where to put his gas money and everything. So I was like, I'm not going to tell someone what to do with their car, you know? So I didn't mention it to him. And I had to wake up early the next day. I had shit to do tomorrow, so I didn't really, I'll see him, I'll hit him up later. So that night, whatever we did, me and my friends, we hung out a little bit, and then my homies left, and then knocked out.
Saturday morning, my husband's phone rang, and I saw a 312, and I said, this is a 312, this is something, it dawned on me, this is something different. My husband called me back, and he could hear English, and I said, give me the phone. It's a lady.
Are you the mom of Hector Avalos?
I said, yeah, and she says.
Is his father there?
And I got really angry because his father, he's been estranged for 26 years almost, and I just got irritated. I said, look, lady, his father's not here.
Well, can I speak to him?
I said, I'm the mom, but I said it with an arrogant voice, like you don't have no right. I said, I'm Ingrid Cosio. I'm his mom, but I'm remarried. And she said,
well, I would really like to speak to his dad.
I said, no. Would you please get it over with and just start talking to me? And she says,
well, your son has been in a car accident.
And I said, no, my son doesn't drive a car. You're wrong. And she says,
well, he was on a bicycle.
And I threw the phone. I knew he was dead. She didn't have to say it. I started screaming. I grabbed this picture and I said, no, my son is not dead. It's not my son. Not my son. And I was screaming. I threw myself on the floor with this picture.
An accident happened about 11:40, and he was pronounced dead about 12.
I grabbed the phone and called my mom, and I was screaming. My mom couldn't understand. So my dad got there later, and he was just telling me that I had to be strong. I was just sitting there blank, thinking my son is in the morgue. Didn't have no one to hug him or warm him up. I called his friend Jamie, and I said, Jamie, have you seen Hector? And he says,
No, he's at home.
I said, no, he's not. I said, can you find out from somebody? Might be a prank, but might not be. I said, but Hector's dead.
So on December 7th, wake up. So I go to my mom's house and I'm chilling there next to my brother. Happy birthday, bro. And I'm sitting there and watching TV, and the phone rings. My mom's phone rings, and it's Jamie's number. Like, Jamie calling me on my mom's phone. Like, what the hell's going on here? So I answered it. I was like, what's up? He's like,
Hey, bro, what are you doing right now?
I was like, shit, chilling, man. I'm at my mom's. Because, you know, he knew I was going to my mom's house that day. I was with him the night before, you know. He's like,
Hey, have you talked to Hector's mom?
and I was like, no, why? He's like,
Hector didn't come home last night.
I was like, what do you mean? Maybe went to Christine's house or something. Like, you know, that's what he does, he said.
No. Someone called his mom, and the city or somebody called his mom and told him that Hector got hit by a car.
And I was like, dude, quit playing like that. It ain't even funny, man. Like I know Jamie wouldn't play around like that, but I think this moment I'm in denial. Like, dude, oh shit. Like, is he in the hospital? Is he okay? And he's like, because I could hear in Jamie's voice, something ain't right. And he's like,
No, he died.
dead. And I hear on the other line, I hear Jamie start to cry. And I'm like, damn, this is real. So I was like, dude, let me call Ingrid real quick, because maybe it's a mix-up, dude. Maybe something's wrong here. I'm still not believing this is going on. I called Ingrid, she didn't answer, so I was like, let me call Rosario. Maybe she's seen him. She didn't answer. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, well, let me call Christina. He had to be with Tina, and she didn't answer either. I'm like, God damn it, no one's answering their fucking phone. And now I'm like freaking out and shit. And then I got the phone call, and it's Ingrid. She's calling me back. Answer the phone, and she's crying.
Robert, have you talked to Hector?
Nah, is it true?
I don't know, Robert. Go find out. Call Christina. Go figure it out. You guys live close.
And as she's telling me that, Tina's calling me back up, and I was like, fuck. So I was like, hey, it's Tina, let me call you back.
Okay, call me back.
Click over, and I'm like, Tina. She said,
What's up, Rob? He sounded really weird and suspicious. He was like,
where are you, Tina? What are you doing?
nothing. I'm home watching TV.
Are you with Hector?
No.
When was the last time you seen him?
Yesterday before he went to work.
Is somebody home with you?
Yeah, my parents are upstairs.
Okay, are you sitting down?
No. Why? Do I need to be sitting down?
Tina, I got really bad news.
What's wrong?
Ingrid just called me right now, and she said that Hector got hit by a car.
Oh my God, is he okay?
No, Tina. He's dead.
No. No!
And she's screaming. I was like, let me find out more and I'll call you back. Bam, hang up the phone, call Ingrid up. I'm like, Ingrid, where are you at? She's like,
I'm gonna go see the body right now. Go confirm it.
and I was like, let me go with you. So she comes, she's still on the east side. She comes, picks me up, and then she's crying. She's holding this picture of Hector. Like, everything just felt so surreal. Like, it was a dream. Like, the picture of Hector is him in a diaper with the smile on him, and like at the beach at Cal Park, and she's like,
Well, call Rosario.
and I used her phone and I called Rosario, and she's not answering still, but she called back.
He didn't come home. I thought he was with Christina.
And then like Ingrid told her, and now Rosario's like, it didn't hit her really hard yet, but she's like, you could tell in her voice. I was like, tell all the friends to get to Frank's house. Let's all get together there. That was the new plan. Like, I just wanted to be around my friends at this moment, like when we get there, and it was terrible.
When I went to the morgue, they didn't let me see him.
Like, there's no doctor. We can't let you see it without the doctor being present. Ingrid's fucking, like, hysterical. She's like,
What do you mean? I gotta see my baby.
and, like, the security guard won't let her go past, so we're like, come on Ingrid, let's go. And still it's not like clicking in my head yet. I'm still in denial. She
It
goes,
supposedly happened on Ogden. Supposedly it happened on Ogden by California.
so we're going on Ogden. I didn't see nothing like any sign of an accident. And she's like,
Hold it! Pull the car over! Pull the car over!
and she gets out of the car, not saying nothing. We're on Ogden. It's pretty busy. We're in the middle of it. And she runs to a big puddle of bright red blood. And I'm like, holy shit.
And from that blood, I knew right away that it was from his head.
Now, I went to Iraq. I know what blood looks like. And, like, it's bright red blood. I'm like, this was like a head wound. It started to sink in more and more.
It's like nobody needed to tell me. I knew right away it was his head.
And she's on her knees, like, grabbing the blood. And she's like... And I'm like, let's get off the street. This is not safe, She's like...
No! Get away!
She starts yelling at me. Ingrid's mom comes out and she finally gets her in the car, and she's a mess.
Scene shift.
That day, everyone got together.
The day that was supposed to be Friendsgiving. One of Hector's best friends hosts every year at his house. They fry a turkey and all that stuff. That's the day we all got together at our friend Frank's house.
We were just sitting there, silence. Everybody was just in shock.
I shake their hands, and at this moment, I felt like a hug was necessary. I go hug Sergio, and that dude's like, he wouldn't let go of me. And I felt like really bad at the moment, like we were done. Our emotions were it was supposed to be like a happy day for me. My brother, instead of celebrating someone's day that they were born, I'm celebrating someone's day that they're not here no more.
It was really difficult. Really difficult. That whole week was just like a nightmare.
None of us are religious pretty much, so like we got candles, we said words, and that's all we really could do,
So when we got back to my mother's house, the media was there, and they wanted interviews. So we interviewed with Channel 7, I don't remember which ones, but I took a pill to go to sleep, laid down about 1 o'clock, and as I'm laying there talking to my husband, I felt something, like a whisper and a kiss. I heard a voice saying, "It's okay." And he gave me a kiss, and I told my husband, I don't know if I'm going crazy or is that I want to feel him, but my son is here. And I know he just gave me a kiss. I felt like the heat, this side. But that's the only time I've ever felt nothing after that.
Scene shift.
The ghost fight means a lot to me because it's the only public memorial we have of him. It's just where he spent his last moments. He was almost home.
Jamie was the one like...
Ghost bike. Let's do this ghost bike. Let's do this ghost bike.
Jamie's a hands-on person. I think he heard Annelle talking about it. He wanted to start building shit.
I don't even know who went and got the bike.
I was like, Jamie, there's white spray paint in that closet right there.
One person brought the chain, somebody brought a lock, so we all put it together, and that's how it's still going.
My friend Albert, he drew that thing which ended up going on the shirt. Lopez made the fucking most awesome painting.
People were working on signs, and I think I was just sitting there, just shocked still. I could not stop crying for days. If I was just sitting there, it was not very helpful. I couldn't be. But everyone who was able to was just moving around.
All the friends fucking worked like gears in a clock, We were able to tell time, efficiency.
And every time I go, there's something somebody has added.
Whether it's $1.
Or there's also art. Somebody put up this beautiful installation of forks and spoons and a plate.
Bike lights.
A hat.
My part of it was I made a video of us putting it together.
We go and it was snowing, and I think that was actually one of the first snows, like heavy snows of the year. So we get there, and it's like, all these cars are passing by, and they probably just see a bunch of kids like standing outside and shit. Little do they know, like, we just lost a really important person, like, not only to us, I feel like the whole entire world is going to be shaped by this loss. Because this is the dude had an impact not just on us, but he could have been anything. Like, we was goofed around about him being the mayor, and I was, dude, I gotcha. I don't.
It's close to home when you're a cyclist. I see a number of cyclists pass through there, and some stop and ask. That's really beautiful that it's a public place where anyone can go, but it's also important to me because it's the only place we can go.
Sometimes Ingrid will call me and say, I feel like I really need to go. Will you come with me? We went like a week ago. It was a Friday night. I think Friday nights and Saturday mornings was difficult for her.
But I told my other kids I wanted to get them into riding their bicycles. My son rode it to school too since he was little.
So anyways, here we are standing at this. Jamie and my friends, they put it up high and they're all securing it, and there's the streets and sands guy with his fucking shovel, like all that black ice all over us. And he came around again, but the second time it was tripped out to see all my friends like jump in front of the bike. This is marine type shit right here.
Me and Annelle decorated it for Christmas. That was a tough day. We decided to go, and the snow was finally melting, and I ended up finding Hector's glasses. One of our friends was very adamant about finding something that Hector left behind, what he was searching for, so he could be free. I mean, that was a sad day, but that was a good day, you know?
We didn't say goodbye, and we've never said goodbye. And I would like it to remain that way.
He's still around, like, you know, I know his energy is still around. I feel it. He's not here physically, but we have to keep him alive in whatever way he lived or how we choose to live.
I guess every mom says the same thing about their kids. Oh, he was a great kid. I have no regrets. As of raising him, and how would I put it, having the honor of the divine giving him to me, to have him.
At the end of the day, you gotta watch out, not only for yourself, but we're all brothers and sisters out here on this planet. We gotta watch out for each other.
Hector, I think, really taught me that you have to give way to pedestrians. Even though something I already knew and would practice, he just really felt really strong about that. But one of Hector's pet peeves was watching people walk on the side of the street with their head in their cell phones, like clearly not looking where they're going. Like that would upset him so much.
It comes back down to just being aware of what you're doing, you know? Unless people start seeing what they're doing, you know, nothing's going to change.
I think it's everybody's responsibility. If you're on a bike, you have to do your part and follow the rules, and somebody in the car, you have to be conscious too and give them space.
You gotta worry. You gotta worry because there's 100 cars to one bicyclist. Because city, to me, the city's not for bicyclists. We're gonna be like China. We're gonna see nothing but 100 bicyclists. The point is that people have seen that we need bicyclists.
Before, when I used to ride my bike, I was a little too reckless, like going fast and just swerving out, resentment with the cars and stuff. But now it's like, all right, take a step back. And you realize what's around you, you know, respect the cars, respect the stop signs. You have to take into account everything.
I think we'll make the road safer for everyone when I think us as human beings realize that it's worth.
That's where it starts, right? A conversation.